You're listening to The Bird Bath. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. Our first story this week is about some instability or lack of access to emergency care in the Green Bay area. Now, it might not seem like a huge thing. It's a population of about 110,000 people, which is still pretty significant in the grand scheme of things. But there was a recent ER closure last Friday in the Green Bay area. Blue Pearl closed their Green Bay location, which has now left a massive gap in the availability of emergency care for pet owners across the region. There was previously another Blue Pearl clinic that was open or closed in the past few months in the similar area. And so pet owners now are going to be looking at driving an hour and a half or more to be able to get to their next ER location. So this wasn't something though that caught people, or it might have caught some people by surprise, but as I was digging into this, there was talk on a bunch of the different subreddits, both in the Green Bay area as well as the veterinarian channels, that were talking about the difficulty of staffing in the Green Bay area, especially for the ERs that did close. People were having issues with 8 to 12 hour waits. And eventually it seems as if this was an issue of availability of staffing. It's something that we've heard a lot about, and it's something that I think we're going to continue hearing about. Now, the reason why this story is interesting, not only because it does leave this big access to care gap about physical access to care, but if we look at it on the business aspect, as they're closing 2 practices, Veritas Veterinary Partners is actually expanding their footprint of 2 practices that they own in California. First, their veterinary surgical specialists of Orange County just opened up a brand new 10,000 square foot facility. What they've added into this new facility here is advanced diagnostic with a 128 slice CT scan machine, 5 surgical suites, 10 pre- and post-operative treatment bays, 20 oversized canine recovery suites, as well as a ton of on-site amenities, inpatient and outpatient radiology suites, on-site laboratory, as well as a new pharmacy. So that's a major growth and footprint for a practice that has been in the area since the 80s. And then additionally, they had a massive new practice that they have built, and are moving the Pet Emergency and Specialty Center of Marin to a 28,000 square foot facility. It's got 15 exam rooms. It's a 24-hour emergency room. They've got an intensive care suite, 4 customized ORs, chemotherapy treatment suite, endoscopy suite, a community blood bank. They've got a dedicated space for group grief support sessions, and all types of different imaging modalities, MRI, CT, multiple x-ray machines. And they've really set it up to be able to take on anything that comes to them. They've got 2 dedicated feline wards and a canine ward with natural light and isolation rooms for infectious patients. So I think the big difference to note here is that there has been growth in the footprint of successful and flourishing clinics. You're not building a 28,000 square foot facility for a practice that's not performing really well and has the staff for it. But in places where there's difficulty finding the staff, we are seeing continuous closures. So it brings us back to the age-old topic of, is there a shortage, or is there a shortage of places people want to work? A place that I know a lot of people do like working is VetVerifi. VetVerifi just announced that they have successfully closed their seed round of $2.8 million. It was led by Las Olas Venture Capital with participation from Rue Capital and Market Square Ventures. Now, this was a cool one. I know they initially had some funding from the team behind Bitworks, and they are really growing quickly. They've got an incredible group of people that are tackling something that no one else is really trying to understand, the interoperability between the information in your veterinary clinic and its need to get to the grooming and boarding and daycare facilities. So VetVerifi is doing a really cool job doing that. Now, they were part of Leap Venture Studios, and I dug in a bit more into their new venture capital and capital partners. So Las Olas has a really cool portfolio. I saw a lot of their stuff actually fell around supply chain and logistics. They've done some investment in the medical space. They definitely have a lot of cool technology in their portfolio. So I would expect to see a lot of support from them for the team at VetVerifi. Now, the other one that I found really interesting was Rue Capital. Now, Rue has a smaller portfolio, but some names that people that listen here would recognize. One that really stuck out was Hound, which is the employee experience business. And the really interesting thing about that was that both Hound as well as VetVerifi went through Leap Venture Studios. So it seems like Rue has found a bit of a path into the animal health space and has made their second investment through that channel. So congratulations to everyone at VetVerifi. I know you guys are going to do some incredible things with the funding, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Going from the future to jumping a bit back in the past to look forward to the future. Is this confusing enough? It's confused me, but the story is interesting. So if you remember, last year there was a study by AHA supported by Digitail and the incredible team at Full Slice Agency in determining that the familiarity with artificial intelligence drives optimism and adoption among veterinary professionals. It was a survey that was done December 2023 to January 2024. The study was just published in the American Journal of Veterinary Research, which is a peer-reviewed AVMA journal. So huge step here. There's a lot of people that do surveys and ask their clients questions, but to be able to be a peer-reviewed medical journal really makes a big difference. So a lot of work went into this, but if you're not familiar with the study, you should definitely check it out. I'll link it in the bio. The goal here, though, is to capture insights on how AI could enhance clinical workflow and patient care while addressing common concerns about its reliability and effectiveness. And keep in mind, this was a year ago that they did this survey, and people were just starting to dip their toes into it. Both members of AHA as well as Digitail's veterinary network were surveyed, and a total of 3,900 veterinary professionals responded. They represented a ton of different roles within the space. Most were veterinarians and veterinary technicians, that an average age of 35, and the responses provided a broad perspective on AI awareness, usage, and expectations within the profession. The big result, though, that I think was exciting for people on the technology-minded and future-minded side of things was that the results revealed that while familiarity with AI varied, there was an overall positive sentiment towards its adoption. Those who actively used AI tools in their work expressed higher levels of optimism about its potential benefits. Ultimately, the findings suggested that hands-on experience with AI fosters greater trust and confidence, which paves the way for broader acceptance and integration within veterinary practices. So it was really cool to see when it came out in 2024. It's even cooler to see that this work and this survey was done with the level of detail and professionalism in order to allow it to be peer-reviewed by the AVMA and published in the American Journal of Veterinary Research. A ton of work went into this. I know the team at Full Slice created, supported, administered, and really followed through to make sure that this came together. So huge kudos to them and to AHA as well as Digitail's team. And, I think first off, we should ask them to do this again. I want to see what the survey says for 2025. So let's go ahead and get this fired up December 2025 to January 2026. I want to see what the new results say. I think we will see that more people are using AI and that their familiarity and their confidence in the tools is just growing. Another utilization of AI that's happening and starting to bring a lot of attention here is the integration of AI into the Internet of Things, or what's being called AIoT, Artificial Intelligence of Things. If you're not familiar with Internet of Things, I kind of geek out over it sometimes. I think it's super fun, but think about it in the most common sense of the smart thermostat that you have, or your Apple Watch, or the Wi-Fi in your air fryer, which is what mine has. And I still haven't figured out why I need Wi-Fi in my air fryer, but IoT, well, AIoT is making that smarter, so maybe it will be able to tell me when my chicken fingers are done cooking. Who knows? But a company out of China, TuyaSmart, utilizes a lot of technology to power these different smart devices. They have teamed up with DeepSeek, which we've talked about before and everyone talked about. They claim to have launched a model faster, smarter, quicker, cheaper, and everything than ChatGPT, and really shook up a lot of the industry. And they're also a Chinese-based company. And these two have announced a partnership to utilize the DeepSeek models to be able to increase the quality of pet care devices. So the goal here is that instead of just collecting the data that you might have from a smart collar, these AI-powered pet gadgets will understand and respond to a pet's needs in real time. So the things that TuyaSmart makes, they make automatic feeders, they make self-cleaning litter boxes, they make fresh water dispensers. And so the idea is that they now want to, instead of just monitoring the data, so if they make a smart health tracker, instead of just tracking the activity, they can recognize earlier signs of illness. If they see a temperature rise, they want to alert the owner. We've seen some companies that are doing that already in the space, but the size of Tuya is massive. They are a huge, huge company with lots of resources, and a close partnership with DeepSeek through the Chinese government means that they're going to be able to move extremely quickly in these things. Now, they threw out some future thinking ideas, and I have learned not to think that things are too crazy, but here were just a few of the wild new pet ideas that they had here. They thought of a brainwave collar, which would read a pet's emotions and translate them into feelings owners can see on an app, which actually is what we've seen the team at Mogi doing, and we're seeing through image recognition, people doing some of those things, but they want to talk about it as a brainwave, which is a different thing. A dream projector, which can display relaxing images if a pet is having restless sleep and provides morning dream reports. A smart feeder with DNA analysis, which could adjust meals to match a pet's genetics and even disguise medicine and food when needed. And finally, this one seemed a little crazy as well, but who knows? A pet socializer, which helps lonely pets by mimicking scent-based social interactions and even recommending local playmates. That one actually could be interesting if you were to take the fear-free approach in the utilization of pheromones and attach that to a monitor that could monitor an FAS, fear, anxiety, and stress score, that could then introduce additional pheromones into stressful situations in an attempt to alleviate the pain of the animal or the stress and anxiety of the animal. So, hey, it sounds crazy, but it's not that far away. And so very interesting stuff. I think we'll continue to see more and more from Tuya. And I think with some of the other work that they've done, this is something where we might see this technology come into play with companies that you're already working with. And Tuya is going to be the engine that's powering that behind it. I wouldn't expect to see that brand name splashed across your refrigerator, but I would expect to start seeing some of that technology making its way into your pets' lives. Finally, if you are a student, listen up. PetSmart Charities Veterinary Scholarship is live. Applications opened yesterday, Monday, February 24th, and the scholarship is going to be awarded to veterinary students in the U.S. who embody the mission and vision of PetSmart Charities. Veterinary students on the forefront of providing accessible veterinary care in under-resourced communities are encouraged to apply. PetSmart Charities is awarding up to 6 $25,000 scholarships. The scholarships are going to be given to veterinary students in good standing, so don't apply if you're a bum, who have demonstrated leadership in providing access to veterinary care for pets and people in need. The ideal candidate must possess a strong drive and commitment to support the human-animal bond by keeping pets together with their families. Like I said, the application window is open. It opened February 24th, and it goes through April 4th of 2025. So if you or you know somebody, if you are, or if you know somebody that's a veterinary student, be sure to have them apply for this. These kind of scholarships and grants a lot of times do not get the attention that they need, and they don't go out fulfilled. So PetSmart Charities has set aside this money in order to give back to veterinarians. So let's get these students applied. I'll have a link in the bio, and you guys don't want to miss this one. Finally, if you're going to be in Vegas next week, I will see you at WVC. Mark your calendars. Tuesday, March 4th at 12:10, Dr. Audrey Weistrach and I are going to be doing our Innovate to Elevate talk. We're going to be talking about the technology your practice is missing. This is being brought to you guys in support of Zoetis and part of the Revamp Coalition that I've talked to you about. So we're going to provide lunch. Be there Tuesday, March 4th, 12:10. It's going to be a fantastic talk, and it's going to be one where we did it at VMX, and we've adapted and tweaked a few things to be able to open up more time for questions because we want to hear from you. For more on these and other stories, join us by subscribing to our Substack. There's always a link in the bio, and don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For the Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.